there, it's Ina here, and today I want to make some embellishments which can be used for all kinds of arts and craft projects, maybe the cover of a journal or a picture frame or maybe a keepsake box, lots of possibilities. And to work on, I will be using these buttons. I got a bunch of these big craft buttons, and I went ahead and I completed 3 of them. And these are the final results. I treated these like tiny little assemblage collages, and they're full of little findings, just tiny things like washers and screws and beads and safety pin and jump rings, little bits of jewelry, also some modeling paste, curtain ring. And then after that was done, I covered them in gesso. After that was dry, I painted them with acrylic paint. And then I added just one more little element, like this has some beads and a little bling. This has a little mirror. And this has some couple of gears. So I want to make 3 more here with you. Now the reason I explained a little bit how I did this is because I want you to be able to follow along very easily while I chit-chat with you a little bit. This art hop is called Everyday Art, and the idea behind it is to share some tips, or maybe not so much tips, more like what makes me do my art, what inspires me, where I get my ideas, and those kind of things. So let me get started with these. Now, as far as I can remember back, I've always enjoyed making things and being creative, even as a little kid. And as a teenager, I started painting, I did some clay sculpting, I worked on collages. But then, like many of us, I got busy with family and kids, lots of kids. But even during those busy years, I've always tried to stay creative, although mostly for practical reasons. So I was making toys for the kids, dolls and doll houses for the girls, and castles and boats for the boys. I sewed clothes, saw costumes, we made tents, and those kind of things moms do. Now the kids are older and I do have more time on my hand, which is great. And I am a bit driven by my art and my creativity, but I think it's something which has always been with me. It's always been part of me. So these days I try to go into my art room every day and make something. Now I'm not retired yet, so not every day gives me a lot of hours. If I don't have much time, I just look at the things I've already made, see if it needs some tweaking. I might look at my supplies and think of a plan for a new creation. Sometimes even set out things I want to use the next day. Now, if I have time, I like projects I can start and finish the same day. And then again, some projects just take longer or may need to dry overnight, or sometimes I get stuck and it just doesn't look right, or I know something is missing. And so stepping away from it and coming back later or the next day is often very helpful, as then I get some ideas and I can usually finish it up. I get inspiration, of course, by watching YouTube videos. I check Pinterest and other sites. I really enjoy watching other artists create. I admire their techniques and ideas. And when I find something I like to try or incorporate into my art, I do try hard to change it up a bit, make it my own, and make it work for me and make it my style. Let's see. I also get a lot of inspiration just from everyday things. Sometimes it's just an image in a magazine or an advertisement or something I see outside. And sometimes that one image triggers an idea and I make an art journal page or a journal or whatever may fit. I also like to work with objects. So I do frequent our secondhand stores locally, as I just get a kick out of finding things which I would not normally find when I'm looking for it, like in a store, in an arts and crafts store. These odd things which just beckon to be worked on, changed, recycled, upcycled. I really like this. I even do upcycling with my own art because not everything I make comes out right. I mess up or something just doesn't seem right or I don't like it. Sometimes I just don't use my materials properly. I don't wait for it to dry properly and so on. So then I take parts of it, the parts which look good, and I try to incorporate it in a new project. So I think upcycling, recycling is very much part of my style. And that goes also for supplies. I keep my supplies pretty simple. I do look for supplies on clearance aisle, secondhand stores, again, because there is so much chance involved. Like you find this odd item, something which would never be on my wish list. And it just gives me inspiration and ideas which just come from that one item. And I work with that. I take it and then make a project out of it. So that's kind of like my artistic brain works. It usually needs just a little trigger and then it takes it from there. Otherwise, my art supplies are actually fairly simple. If I need something specific or something a little more fancy, I usually order it online. Um, I think you can make really good art with simple materials. It doesn't have to be fancy. And there are ways to get good materials in a bargain situation. You just have to research your town. Now, my art room isn't very big and I keep it fairly well organized. I kind of thrive on it a bit. I like to be able to find things when I'm looking for them. It's probably a bit of a hang up at maybe my German background or having raised a large family. I think being organized was the only way I could keep my sanity. So, yeah, it's kind of part of me as well. Of course, another big inspiration for me and something that drives my creativity and motivates me a lot is my YouTube channel right here. It is just so much fun to post your art, your completed project, and get such wonderful feedback and comments. The online arts and crafts community is so supportive, and I met so many wonderful people. So, this is definitely a big part of my creative journey and it's a very fun part of it too. So I think this brings me towards the end of what I have to say. I hope it wasn't too distracting and you were able to follow along with the process as my little buttons are just about done. So these are all dry, they feel great, and here's one more close-up. There's a copper one with the silver butterfly and the silver beads. There is a magenta one where I added a textured bling piece and some matching beads. And then there's a lime green one. This was a little flower from a broken earring, and I added those two half pearls to match the one in the middle here. And these were the ones I'd made before. I'll give you also another closer look. Now I have made these in just different shades of one color, as I think they're a little easier to place when you want to use them as embellishments. But of course you can make them colorful, and you can definitely make them custom made if you have a project in mind. You just color them the exact color needed. Now I want to give you a couple of ideas here what you can use them on. Like for instance, if you have a pretty box, this would be a nice accent, could be a nice accent. Or maybe if you have a little journal, it could look really nice too. Or even down here. There you go. Or even canvas art, any canvas art. If you do a little bit of collaging on it or a little bit 3D effect, something like that could complement it. So there are just many different ways these can be used, and I hope this little video inspired you to give it a try. Alright, that's it for today. Please don't forget to go down in my description box and follow the lineup. You don't want to miss all the other fun videos. Have a happy hop. Thank you for coming. Bye bye for now.